What we're going to look at next will be a demonstration of parts of the suite that we've been talking about so far. So what I will go into first here will be a tax return that has been delivered. It will be just a 1040 joint return, so you can see what the process basically looks like for most of the clients most of the time. So I'm going to open up on my screen here client email, and I'm going to go right into a tax return. So I've got one right here. This is what an email looks like going out to clients from any of our features and modules within the suite. It's all very simple, very consistent. We have the logo of the firm will be here. Everything will be branded for you. And your clients will click on this Let's Get Started button to begin the process of accessing their tax return. Now, from here, they will see a Get Started button, and this is where they'll begin getting into their return securely without needing to create an account. So that first button in the email, they can click on from a phone, a tablet, a PC, a Mac. And when they go into here, they don't have to create any kind of an account. So we don't have any password reset questions coming up or username questions. We just need two things from your client. We're using dual factor authentication to get your client to be able to securely access their return. So the first thing that we need is for Jack here to enter the last four of their SSN, and then they'll need to request an access code. So they're going to click send code, and when they do that, our system will generate and deliver to their phone or email a code. They're going to go back to, in this case, email. And once they put the code in there and click confirm, they are now in their return. And this is what a tax return looks like when someone first enters it. So we have always over on the left a summary of the things that they generally care the most about. Refunds, overpayments, payments due, and below that, estimated payments. And in the middle are three steps. So we send clients through three things. They will always first review their return, then they will sign their e-file forms, and then we'll help them manage and make their tax payments. K1 distribution is also part of this process. So if this return had K1s, there'd be a spot for distribution of K1s right after signing. Anywhere they click, they're going to the same place. We are sending them through in this specific order. So doesn't matter what button they click on, they're going to first be taken to a message from the firm. And then if you have included an invoice with the return package, whether it's coming out of your tax software or coming from another program, that's what will show up next. So you can include your invoice if you'd like to, if it's an option. And you can also include a Pay Now button here if you have an online payment vendor. We will link that. You can link that in your SafeSend account, so your clients will have that the ability to pay you right away. From here, they will click next and they'll move into the review stage. And for the review, we're going to have them go through their filing instructions, transmittals, and their tax return. And all they have to do to review this process, to review their return, regardless of what kind of device they use to access their return, is scroll. And they are able to scroll through as much or as little as they want. That is totally up to them. From there, when they click next, they're going to move into the signing stage. And this is what signing looks like for a 1040. So they have two options. They can e-sign or they can opt out and manually sign. And if they select manual signature, which really doesn't happen very often at this point, we will give them instructions for downloading their e-file forms as well as for showing them how to return them back to you. For e-signing, if this were an entity return and I clicked e-sign, I would go right to the e-file forms and I would start applying signatures. This is a 1040, so they have to go through knowledge-based authentication. So the process will include your client entering their date of birth the very first time they use the program. We do each year have them check this box right here, which just is an acknowledgement that they have reviewed the return. They're ready to move into the next step. They can view and add or edit their spouse's information right there. And then they start going through the knowledge-based authentication process. And this process looks like this. Our success rate with knowledge-based authentication through 8 tax seasons and millions of returns at this point has never been below 97%. We know how to get clients through this process so that there are very few phone calls ever coming in about it. Once they answer those questions correctly, they will be taken to their e-file forms. They'll click start and we'll drag them to the first place that they need to apply a signature. So the signature fields were all automatically placed by our system on the front end, so nobody at the firm has to drag and drop these. we have that taken care of. For the first signature, your client is just deciding what they want their signature to look like. They can draw it, they could use ours, doesn't really matter. And then when they are ready for the next signature, they click next and we'll drag them to the next spot where we place the signature field. These are all required. They can't skip any. That's a very quick process. They cannot continue until signature is in every field here. Once they've done that, they can click next. If it's a joint return, we're going to show them one more message here about the next person who needs to sign. Make sure that they understand somebody still has to sign, and then they can click next to move into the final stage, which is payments. And for payments, we'll have them go through their tax payments first. So you can see due date, total amount due, and then in these tiles off to the right, there's one of these for each authority. So each authority owed for that due date. And you can see what happens here for payments that are scheduled for automatic withdrawal. If there's a pay button in one of these tiles, they can select that, and they'll see instructions for downloading the voucher and paying it manually if that is allowed. And the other option they'll have, which is what most people will select, pay now. And when they click on pay now, we are going to send them right to that authority's website. So we have all of that in place. We know where they need to go to make a payment. After tax payments, they're going to go through a very similar process with estimated payments. So they'll have here quarterly due dates, total amount due, and then that's a similar breakdown off to the right. Now with estimated payments, these can be updated throughout the year. So if information changes and you need to update or add an estimated payment, you can go into a reporting into that client's return, update the estimated payment, and from there, we'll take over. We will email your client immediately to let them know something changed, and we'll make sure that when your client accesses their return and their estimated payments, they'll only see the most current and correct information. They can also see right here when they're going to be getting those quarterly reminders I mentioned earlier. And from there, they're done. This is what a return will look like for Jack here for up to 7 years. They are always able to enter this return, manage information, download documents. They can even, from here, securely forward any part of their return onto a third party. So if they're buying property, they can come in here and they can send just their tax return without any of these action items off to a bank or a mortgage lender to ideally take some of that off of your plate. Now that is a return. And obviously that's just the client side. We'd love to talk to you more about kind of how this happened on the firm side. But one other thing that I would like to go over real quick is what it looks like for an organizer. So organizers can be sent out at one at a time. They can be sent out in batches. And what we do with the organizer, I'm going to go right into the same person here. The email you can see here, the email looks very similar. It's always very, very consistent. So when your client clicks, let's get started from that email, they are going to be taken to an organizer. They are still going to have to go through that access code authentication. So they will click get started and then request access code. And again, for this one, it is going back to email. And once that code comes through, they are going to be able to access their organizer. And I went to the wrong spot. Here we go. And once, again, that code is in, this is what the organizer looks like. So they have a message from the firm. This organizer, I included an engagement letter, a customized questionnaire, and then you'll see the organizer and an upload option at the very end. These are all grayed out. If you include an engagement letter, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that your client signs it. So anything they click on, they have to at least go in and review the engagement letter. You can also, you can elect to require that they sign it before they have access to the rest of the information. It's a very simple process for them to go through and sign that. Very similar to the e-file forms that we looked at a moment ago, but without those questions. And once they click finish, a notification will go back to the firm once that engagement letter has been completed. Now, so you know that that is ready. You download it, save it wherever you need to save it, leave it in our system for 7 years if you want. Now, the next thing here is the questionnaire. So this, if you're using the questionnaire, if this is something you guys, if anybody wants to utilize this, it can be very helpful because it allows you to prioritize questions. So you can put questions in front of your client that you've had difficulty getting answered from them in the past. The questions that you're asking can be yes or no. They can be short answer. They can even be dynamic, where if they answer yes to a question or no, another question will pop up. The most important part about this is that they can be required. So you can really get things taken care of that you haven't, again, been able to in the past. And once they complete the questionnaire, they go into the organizer. And this is the organizer coming out of your tax software. It's that same one that they're used to, but everything in here is now fillable. So you can see this page here. I can go in as the taxpayer and I can enter any information I need to. I can edit information. So for example, if I changed careers, I can change that in here. We'll highlight it for you at the firm so you know that happened. Your client can add notes onto any page for you. They can also, on certain pages, upload documents. So instead of having them enter their W-2 information, they can simply click upload, and then they can drag in whatever documents they need to pull in here, and then they can move along. So I'll pull a W-2 in for this one. And now I can move forward and finish the rest of the organizer. Now, if they don't have time to complete the organizer, they are able to click save and continue later. And when they come back in, we will start them right where they left off. If they mark it as finished, we will let you know that that organizer is, as far as your client is concerned, they're done with it and you can start working on it. The only way that the client can then get back into that is if you unlocked it for them. So you won't be surprised by things. Now, one other way that they can upload documents, if they get something else that they know you need, they don't have to go into that organizer and find that page. There's a button right here for that process. So they can click upload. They will then see any documents that they have already sent back to you with the organizer, and they can drag more in. And we will notify you when things are waiting for you in the organizer report. So the reporting, as it is with throughout the suite, it is firm-wide reporting. So you know when things are changing, and anybody there who needs information about any client and wants to know where they are in the process will have that available to them. With source documents, you can have those notifications go back to whoever needs to receive that notification, and then you can decide when you want to get those notifications. But that, if I click continue later here or finish, either way, that's the process for the organizer. We want this to be simple so that your client is more likely to do more than they have in the past. And that is what we have time for on this demo. Unfortunately, I was hoping to show you some more things on the firm side. But if you'd like to see more, please let us know. You can make an appointment on our website, set up a demo, give us a call, send us an email, whatever you need. If you'd like to have more information, we are here for you.